The boy darts through the busy streets, clutching a box tightly, breathless and panicked. He keeps muttering, he has to make it in time. We're in Tokyo now, inside a bar called Fawn. In one of the back rooms, chaos is brewing. A man's voice rises, shouting at a woman, demanding if she even realizes how much money he blows in this place. He's a heavy-set guy, flanked by two women, barking orders for proper sake. This is Dagura Mitsuru, president of the Nate Company. A staff member bows nervously, explaining that the sake he requested is out of stock. Dagura's face twists with rage. He's clearly unhinged. A vein throbs on his forehead as he snaps, telling her to strip and kneel to beg for forgiveness. The deep web girls giggle cruelly, egging her on, while the woman trembles, eyes brimming with tears. The room erupts with shouting, voices pressuring her to undress. Poor. And then the door swings open. It's him. The protagonist steps in, holding a bottle of Armando Gold, the exact wine Dagura demanded. The room freezes for a moment. Dagura lets out a sharp snort, clearly annoyed that the boy actually made it in time. As the kid steps closer, Dagura grumbles that he better not have sprinted here and shaken the bottle on the way. The boy bows politely, assuring him not to worry, and if there's anything else he needs, just say the word. But before turning to leave, he speaks up. He suggests calmly that maybe Dagura should stop harassing the women who work here. Without hesitation, Dagura hurls the drink straight at his head. The boy stands there, soaked, silent. No reaction. Dagura snaps again, ordering someone named Gu to be brought in. The boy quietly exits as Gu strolls in, smirking. He scoffs, saying these people clearly have no clue how to do their jobs or read the room. Outside, Sika calls out to Dai, our boy. He nods and thanks her, saying it's okay. He knows it must have been even harder for her. Tubishi adds softly that she can only endure it because he's around. Dagura runs a foreign company that's bought up a huge chunk of the Tokyo Lake District. Everywhere you look, one of his businesses is stamped across the skyline. And as if that wasn't enough, gangs have started creeping into the city. But this isn't Tokyo Avengers, man. These gangs aren't just punks, they're yakuza, corporate sharks, and politicians. It's all about money and power now. Meanwhile, our guy Dachi Enomoto is just a regular high school kid trying to enjoy life. After class, he mentions he needs to wrap up his notes today. But his buddy Kadu, the same one who works with him, shrugs it off, saying they can just drop it in chat. Quick and easy. This guy's all about tech. Even ChatPT made it into the storyline. We're officially doomed. Just then, another friend shows up, Sidomeu. She's not having it. Says if they try that, they'll get caught in no time. She slams her hand on the table, insisting they study properly. The others nod and agree. Later, as they're heading out, Ku says they'll meet up tonight. He waves goodbye to Mo and walks off. Dai's clearly flustered standing next to Seto, mumbling that it's probably time for them to head out too. Now that I think about it, this might be one of the rare Japanese stories actually set in college. For some reason, Japan really loves school settings, huh? Which can get awkward fast. Cue the FBI knocking. Anyway, just as Dai and Seto hold hands, someone nearby shoots them a nasty look. You can tell right away, that guy's trouble. Still, the two of them stroll through the city, all sweet and quiet. Dai asks if this kind of counts as a date. Seto looks puzzled and asks why he's acting weird. He says he knows she's never stayed over at anyone's place before, and that she's always been a bit reserved. Apparently, they've got some kind of plan brewing. But here's the strange part. There's a tiny mark behind Dai's ear. Seto notices him scratching it and tells him to quit messing with his little ear. Then, out of nowhere, she leans in close and calls him a perv. Dai turns bright red, totally caught off guard, and Seto bolts off, teasing that, during their upcoming summer trip, they'll finally do that thing. She even throws in a cheeky wink, telling him not to forget. Poor guy. One wrong move and he's toast. He's left standing there, all flustered, wondering, did she mean it, or was she just messing with me? Then he bolts off like a total sucker, face frozen in confusion. Okay, I roasted him a bit, but truth is, the kid spent the whole day at the hospital with his bedridden mom. Dai's got that quiet hero energy. Respect. Sorry for the roast, man. He sits by her side, recounting everything that happened today. But she doesn't respond. Time passes, and he gently says he'll head out and come back later. Just as he's about to leave, he hears a faint sound. He rushes back, and she calls his name. He tells her he came straight from school, but he's got to head to work soon. She holds his hand, apologizing for being such a burden. But Dai just smiles and tells her not to worry. He got the scholarship. Everything's going to be fine. And once she's out of the hospital, they'll go to the beach. Just the two of them. It'll be perfect. She gently closes her eyes and smiles, saying that sounds like fun. A little while later, Dai's back at work, politely thanking customers as they leave. He heads over to chat with one of them and asks if Sayaka's still not replying. She's one of their coworkers. The guy with the mustache shakes his head. Nope, nothing. Looks like she's not even reading the messages. Dai finds that odd. Maybe something happened? Also, where's Gu? Mustache guy says he's in President Dagura's office, having a chat. As long as Gu doesn't tick that guy off, they're probably fine. Just then, Boo walks in and calls for Dai, saying he showed up at the perfect moment. Apparently, Dagura wants to see him. That catches both of them off guard. Dai steps into the room, introduces himself as Dai Edenodo, and asks if someone called for him. Dagura nods and says he wants to introduce him to someone truly remarkable. A man in a sharp suit steps forward, greets Dai warmly, and hands him a business card. The name reads Shiro Jokosaki. Dai notices it's from a law firm. From his seat, Dagura chimes in, saying Shiro is one of the top lawyers he knows, someone most people don't even get the chance to meet. Shiro takes a seat, brushing off the praise with a modest smile. He tells Dai that if he ever needs anything, he shouldn't hesitate to reach out. With that, Dagura waves him off. Dai, unsure how to respond, simply thanks them and heads out. Just as he's closing the door, he hears someone inside say, "That kid seems pretty solid." He walks away, feeling awkward and confused about whatever just went down in that room. Later, on the way home, Dai and Gu are dragging their feet, clearly worn out. Dai asks how Gu managed to smooth things over with Dagura after yesterday's mess. Gu shrugs and says the manager invited him out for drinks, and that was enough to settle everything. Just then, Dai's phone buzzes. It's a message from Sika. She says she wants to talk to him about something related to water and asks if he can meet her at the Grand West Hotel. She adds it's something she's been thinking about for a long time. Dai and Gu look at each other, totally unsure what's going on. Yo jumps in right away, saying it's probably a confession. Dai rolls his eyes and tells him not to be ridiculous. Seika wouldn't just drop something like that out of nowhere. Still, Yo insists they go together, just to be sure. A bit later, they arrive at the Grand West Hotel, and it's insanely luxurious. Dai's never even set foot in a place this fancy. Then Sayaka sends another message. Room 1815, come alone, in 10 minutes. Dai's thrown off, not sure what to make of it. Gu shrugs and says her flirting's getting serious. She clearly wants something from him, so he might as well go. Dai hesitates, unsure how to feel, but finally says he'll go. And honestly, he's right. As Dai turns around laughing, Gu grabs his arm and tells him to hold up. He hands him an energy drink, saying, "This one's the good stuff." Gu knows his friend's been running on fumes lately, barely sleeping, so he figures Dai's gonna crash soon. And let's be real, what are the chances that drink's totally harmless? Pretty much zero. But to be fair, Dai hasn't shown any signs of being shady so far. He's just been a solid guy, so maybe Gu really is just looking out for him. Gu insists it's better to drink it now, otherwise the effects won't kick in when they're needed. Dai nods, says that makes sense, and takes a sip. Meanwhile, Gu's giving him that classic mischievous grin. Dai hands the bottle back, saying Gu can finish it. Gu thanks him casually. As Dai heads off, Gu calls out, telling him not to worry. He won't say anything to Seto Maru. Dai replies, half annoyed, that it's not like that. He's got no kind of thing going on with that wild girl. Riding up in the elevator, Dai's still puzzled, trying to figure out what Gu was even talking about. But then it hits him. Maybe it really was something serious. What throws him off is why Sika would ask him to meet at such a fancy hotel. Could it be a confession? But he's dating Satomeo, so that wouldn't make much sense. Just as he's trying to figure it out, something shifts inside him. His head starts spinning. When the elevator doors open on the 18th floor, the hallway looks warped, twisting, curving like some kind of 3D illusion. He scans the doors, trying to find room 1815, and then he collapses. The door creaks open. Someone inside looks down at him. Time passes. Dai slowly wakes up in the room, groggy and in pain. His arms are scratched up and he's clutching his head. Right beside him lies Seika's body, lifeless, eyes rolled back. He stumbles backwards, stunned. What is she doing here? The room is a complete disaster. But of course, he doesn't remember a thing. Dai's mind is spinning. Did he do something? How did he end up here? Why is Sayaka dead? Why is he half naked? What the hell happened? A sharp pain shoots through his hand. He looks down. Cuts everywhere. Just then, there's a knock at the door. For a moment, he feels relieved. Maybe someone's here to help. But the second he opens it, everything flips. He's slammed to the ground, face first on the cold floor. Officers pin him down while others storm the room, searching every corner. The investigators mutter, wondering if they showed up too late. Dai tries to speak, desperate to understand what's going on. One officer snaps at him to quit pretending. He stammers, saying he doesn't know what happened, that he wasn't involved, but the officer just barks, "Shut up." Cut to the next scene. Heavy rain pouring down. Dai arrives at the prison. And just like that, they framed our boy. Dai was dragged away, helpless, watching as he was hauled off to prison. And there was Kotaku, grinning like a devil. Dai had one shot to call a lawyer. And who did he choose? The only one he knew, Joasaki, the guy connected to President Degura's company. He thanks Joasaki for coming. The lawyer nods, says he knows Dai must be shaken, but tells him to stay calm. He's here to help. Dai gets emotional, says he's counting on him. Joasaki opens the file and starts reading. Enomoto Dai, age 20. That day, he was invited by Tanaka Sayaka to meet at the Grand West Hotel. After consuming alcohol and other substances, they spent an intimate night together. Following an argument, he allegedly killed her. Dai slams the table, furious. That's not even close to the truth. Joasaki gently tells Dai to calm down, reminding him that everything he just read is only what the police believe happened. Dai tries to explain. He didn't do it. He would never do something like that. He asks if he can talk to some of his friends who know what's really going on. Joasaki replies that they've already spoken with Kabot Gu, and not just him, also Kanto and his girlfriend Mo. Hearing Mo's name hits hard. Dai knows she must be worried sick. And then there's his mom, still in the hospital. If she finds out he's caught up in something like this, it'll break her. Joasaki shifts gears and asks if Dai had been drinking the night before, because alcohol was found in his system. Dai says he honestly doesn't remember. Everything felt normal until he got to the hotel. Joasaki adds that people at work mentioned Dai doesn't handle alcohol well, so that lines up. And then comes the kicker. Traces of drugs were found in his urine. Dai slams the table again and jumps to his feet. "I've never touched anything like that," he shouts. Joasaki stays calm, urging him to sit down and breathe. He explains that fabric with Dai's DNA was found under Sayaka's fingernails, meaning she scratched him before she died. Joasaki lays out the theory. Maybe in a moment of rage, Dai started strangling her, and she fought back, clawing at him. Dai sinks into his seat, stunned. "That's impossible," he says. "I would never." Joasaki nods. "You're allowed to deny it. That's your right. But you need to understand, if you push to prove your innocence and it doesn't work, you're looking at a much longer sentence." Dai lowers his head, crushed. "I can't go through that," he whispers. "My mom's in the hospital. She's sick." He had to work just to afford that hospital room. If he's not there for her, his mom's completely alone. The kid breaks down, crying, asking what he's supposed to do now. And honestly, at this point, I wouldn't blame him for wanting revenge. The kind of revenge that leaves scars, cut off their arms and legs, leave them out in the sun for 15 years, fed through a tube, suffering every second. And I'd still say they had it coming. Joasaki clears his throat and says there is a way for Dai to get out much sooner. Dai looks up, desperate. "What way?" Joasaki hesitates, then says it straight. "Admit you did it." Dai goes quiet, doesn't say a word. Joasaki sighs, apologizing. Even if he were the best lawyer in the world, there's just no way to fight this much evidence. If Dai chose to fight for his innocence, the odds of being believed were painfully low. Joasaki explained it would be smarter to confess, show remorse, and hope for a reduced sentence, maybe even parole if things went well. But Dai just spiraled deeper into despair. He couldn't bear the thought of dragging this out. If he waited for parole, his mom would be alone for years. And that was unthinkable. Cut to the day of the trial. Dai stands before the court and confesses. He says that after being invited to the hotel by Tanaka Sayaka, he drank too much. His memories are hazy, but he believes he was responsible for her death, and he's deeply sorry. Of course, we know the truth. He only confessed to shorten the sentence. Deep down, Dai was absolutely certain he didn't do it. All Dai wanted, at the very least, was parole. Just enough time to visit his mother in the hospital before things got worse. But the judge didn't budge. 15 years, no parole. Dai's face falls. He turns to Joasaki, stunned. Why didn't I get parole? Joasaki adjusts his glasses, sighs, and says it's unfortunate. The judge turned out to be harsher than expected. Dai snaps, shouting that this wasn't what they agreed on. But the judge cuts him off, telling him to stay quiet. He can't believe it. No parole. Nothing. How was he supposed to survive 15 years behind bars? He screams that he didn't do it, but security grabs him and drags him away. Of course, he requested a retrial, but nothing was accepted. And just like that, Dai was sentenced to 15 years. Sometime later, in a prison tucked away in a quiet prefecture, the inmates start whispering about the new guy. Kid's weird, one of them says. Keeps talking to himself all day. Of course, they're talking about Dai. Everyone knows him as the strange murderer. He paces back and forth like a man possessed, muttering, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. The other prisoners just laugh. They all say that, one of them scoffs. Later, Dai's working in the laundry room, folding clothes in silence. His mind's spinning. Why is he even here? Why didn't he get a retrial? He's furious. Joasaki never even came to see him, never followed up, never fought for him. Now, all he can think about is Mo. How is she doing? And his mom, still in the hospital. Is she okay? Suddenly, an old man working beside him speaks up. Hey, kid, were you framed? Dai turns, startled. The old man shrugs. I was curious, took a look at your file. Apparently, one night Dai was invited to a strange place, blacked out, and woke up next to a naked, lifeless woman. Dai stares at the old man. How do you know that? The man shrugs. That's not the point. I just want to hear more. Depending on the details, maybe there's a way out of this place. Dai's expression shifts instantly. He has no idea who this guy is or how he knows anything about the case. The man introduces himself, Kamishiro, another prisoner, and according to him, also a victim of a false accusation. A pleasure to meet someone like you, he says. But Dai turns away, suspicious. This is way too strange. He mutters, Don't talk to me. If the guards see us chatting, they'll start asking questions. Kamishiro just smiles and says, We've got plenty of time to talk, so whenever you're ready, come find me. Then he adds one more thing. Dai should be a lot more careful with the guy who handled his case. Joasaki. From Dai's expression, Kamishiro already knows. Yeah, looks like that bastard framed someone again. Later that night, the inmates are asleep. And man, these guys sleep well. Cushioned floors, little screens in the corner. What is this place? Bro, let's go to Asia, commit a crime, and chill in jail. Someone jokes. Just kidding. Seriously, don't even think about that. For the love of God. Meanwhile, Dai's lying awake, staring at the ceiling. Kamashiro's words echo in his head. Why did he bring up Joasaki? Why did he know so much? He should have done the math by now. It's clear. Joasaki screwed him. But as he looks out the tiny window, all he can think about is his mom and Mo. Dai couldn't stop thinking about them. Mo, his mom. What were they doing? Were they worried about him? Did they still believe in him? Cut to the next scene, and it's pure chaos. Blood flying, fists pounding, a group of inmates beating the life out of another guy, shouting, Where's all that tough talk now, huh? And it's not just one-on-one. It's a full-on brawl. Multiple bodies slamming into walls, others crumpled on the ground, barely breathing. That whole idea about Asian prisons being chill, cancel it. Sell your tickets. We're not going anymore. This place is savage. Amid the wreckage, a guy walks up to Ruji and says, We've got something on the new kid. The guy clenches his fist and slams it into a piece of furniture, shattering it. The others say they'll deal with Dai tomorrow, in the garden, face to face. Next day, under the scorching sun, Dai's out there doing pull-ups. He barely manages 3 before collapsing to the ground, body twisted and exhausted. A voice calls out from behind, asking for help moving some equipment. Dai nods and follows. But from the side, Kamishiro is watching everything. It's clear now, Dai's being led straight into a setup, a meeting with Ruji. Turns out I had it mixed up. This wasn't random. Dai senses something's off and spins around, confused. What's going on? And right then, the guy grabs him by the neck. You like killing people, huh? He growls. Dai struggles, trying to explain. I didn't do it. I was framed. But the guy just scoffs. They all say that. Bam! A cannon punch straight to the gut. Dai drops to his knees, gasping for air. Then, bam again. A vicious cross to the head, Cristiano Ronaldo style. Ruji sneers, saying he's a bad guy too. And honestly, he kind of likes what Dai supposedly did. That's exactly why he's itching to kill him now. Another cannon to the face. Dai's body jerks back, blood flying. Ruji's crew just watches, commenting how terrifying he gets when he's angry. At this rate, the new kid wasn't going to make it. Later, Dai's lying there, bruised, broken, barely conscious. Ruji mutters that he at least feels sorry for the kid's parents. Dai's vision is blurry. He can't even process what they're saying anymore. One of the guys leans in and says, outside, the media's going wild. Word spreads fast. Apparently, Dai's mother died. Shock, they say. The moment she found out what her son had been accused of, it was too much. And now Dai's sitting there, hollowed out, asking himself what he did to deserve this. Why did Sayaka call him that day? Why did Yoasaki tell him to confess, promising parole? He only confessed so he could be near his mom again. But it was a crime he didn't commit. Suddenly, a strange sound escapes him, rising, broken, somewhere between a laugh and a scream. Everyone nearby freezes, confused. In that moment, Dai didn't care anymore. Nothing mattered. His world had collapsed. His heart was drowning in a single dark emotion. The inmates around him start backing off, uneasy. Even Ruji just watches, silent. Dai's laughing and crying at the same time, his face twisted with pain, rage, and something else no one could name. Dai's fist connects, square in Ruji's face. From that moment on, he lets go. Rage takes over. As he keeps swinging, he sees her, his mother. An illusion, soft and glowing, calling his name. Live a good life, she says. She turns and walks away. Dai stumbles after her, shouting, Wait, we never went to see the castle. He calls out again, desperate, but she keeps walking, fading into the distance. Cut to the next scene. She's in a hospital bed, bandaged, eyes fluttering open. She calls his name, but of course, it was just a dream. Back in reality, Dai wakes up in the prison infirmary. Kamishiro is sitting beside him, calmly flipping through a book. He chuckles. You went nuts, kid, even punched the guards. Dai blinks, still groggy. What happened to Ruji? He asks, the guy who beat him down before. Kamishiro tells Dai not to worry. Ruji's in solitary, caused a major disturbance, and now he's locked away. The doctor nearby adds that Dai was lucky. If he hadn't arrived when he did, the kid's injuries could have been fatal. Kamishiro casually mentions he got hurt too, but really he's here to talk, to check in. And now they're not just cellmates, they're friends. Brothers in injustice. Dai thinks back to what Kamishiro said earlier, about Yoasaki, about the setup. He asks, Do you really think I'm innocent? Kamishiro nods. I've seen a lot of people in here, and you don't have the eyes of a killer. He leans in, voice low. That trial you went through, it was rigged, no doubt. Dai's confused. But why? Why would they do that to me? Just then, the door creaks open. A guard steps in. Kamishiro Jinde, we need to talk. Kamishiro stands up, brushing off his pants. We'll talk later, he says. But before leaving, he turns to Dai and adds, Sometimes to get what you want, you have to be ready to give up something of equal value. Dai frowns. But what can you even get if you give up everything? Kamishiro doesn't answer. He just gives a quiet smile and says, You should rest. Outside, the guard who called him raises an eyebrow. Didn't expect you to take interest in another inmate. Kamishiro rolls up his sleeve, showing his arm covered in goosebumps. From the look in that boy's eyes, maybe he's got potential. Days pass. A ball hits the wall, bounces back into Kamashiro's hand. He catches it without looking. Footsteps approach. It's Dai, his face different now, hard-focused. Kamishiro glances up. Need something? Dai nods. That thing you said about getting out of here. What did you mean? Kamishiro smirks. It's in the word itself, kid. It's exactly what Dai's thinking. Is Kamishiro talking about hiring some genius lawyer, or is this about actually escaping? Kamishiro doesn't answer directly. I won't say anything, he says, until I know you're serious. Dai leans forward. Then what do I have to do to prove it? The old man stands up slowly, removes his glasses, and looks him dead in the eye. What are you going to do once you get out of here? Something shifts. Kamashiro's whole aura changes, calm, but heavy. Dai feels it. And suddenly, the questions start flooding in. He was expelled from university. His ex-girlfriend hasn't reached out. Kadoku's gone silent. And if his mom really did die, then what's left? Nothing. Everything was taken from him because of that one incident. Dai says it straight. Someone out there killed a girl he knew and pinned the crime on him. That setup cost him everything. His reputation, his future, his mother. So when he gets out, he wants revenge. With his own hands. Kamashiro listens quietly, then asks, "Are you ready to give up everything for that?" Dai scoffs. "Everything? What even is everything? I've got nothing left." Kamashiro nods. "Then we're the same. I had everything taken from me too." But then he leans in, voice low. "There's one thing I still have. Cryptocurrencies. Hidden outside. If your resolve is real, I'll get you out, and you'll get all of it." He pauses. 50 billion, stored, untouched. Dai stares at him, silent for a moment, then mutters, "I don't believe that." Kamashiro cuts him off gently. "I know," he says. "No one believes it. That's the normal reaction. And it's fine. But if you ever change your mind," he adds, "just come talk to me." Before leaving, he mentions something else. "There's a library here. Second shelf, row closest to the window. Far right, black cover. I think it'll be a good read for you." With that, the old man walks off. Not long after, a few inmates approach Dai. "You know Kamashiro Jindai?" one of them asks. Dai shrugs. "Not really." One of them leans in, voice low. "Be careful. That guy's a master manipulator. Got caught in a massive fraud case. Murder, too. Word is he used to run with gangs. Yakuza." Dai doesn't respond, but his mind's racing. Dajigo was still trying to figure out who Kamashiro really was. Next scene, he's at the prison library. Nobody's studying. The only person there is a quiet inmate flipping through a book like a little card. Dai walks over to the shelf Kamashiro mentioned. Second row, closest to the window, far right. There it is, a book with a completely black cover. He opens it. Inside, tucked between the pages, is a smaller booklet. The cover reads, "The Genius of Corporations." A billionaire known for his unique method. Dai stares at it, confused. Why was this hidden here? From that day on, whenever he had free time, he'd return to read it. Something about it pulled him in. A week passes. He's lying in his cell, half asleep, when he feels something shift. He sits up. Kamashiro is already there, sitting calmly in front of him like he'd been there the whole time. Dai blinks. "How did you even get in here?" And yet, no one woke up. Kamashiro casually mentions he asked the guards to make them sleep a little. Just like that. Dai's eyes widen. He's officially freaked out. "Who are you?" he asks, voice low. But Kamashiro doesn't answer. He just asks, "Did you read the book?" Dai nods slowly. "Yeah, now I know your real name. Kosu Jindai, youngest person to ever run a publicly traded company. A genius in the business world, but also a maniac. A man who killed a woman and lost everything." Kamashiro smiles faintly. "I've heard that story." Then he stands up, his shadow stretching across the cell. "I'll ask you again," he says. "That revenge you want so badly, are you willing to give up everything for it?" Now that Dai knows who this man really is, the whole thing feels unreal. The plan, whatever it is, might not even make sense. But the question still hangs in the air. Somehow, Kamashiro had slipped into the cell without anyone noticing. No alarms, no guards, no questions. One thing was clear. This man had power inside these walls. Dai, still feeling hollow, mutters, "It doesn't matter anymore. Everything means the same as nothing." And that's why, if there was even the slightest chance to get revenge on the one who put him here, he'd do anything. Kamashiro doesn't hesitate. All right then. The first mission is simple. Get close to someone inside the prison. Cut to another cell. The atmosphere is tense. Blood stains the floor. A man lies there, pants down, barely conscious. The others in the cell are frozen, terrified. This place, it's not just strange, it's dangerous. And Dai's about to step deeper into it. And right in the middle of it all, there's a maniac. You can tell just by looking at him. This guy's different, dangerous. And guess what? It's Da Chief, Dai, who's been tasked with getting close to him. Seriously, Dai, maybe it's time to let go of the revenge. Anyway, here's what goes down. One inmate steps up to the lunatic, trying to act tough. "Don't underestimate me," he says, swinging a punch. But the guy, Kazuki, grabs his arm midair, flips him over, and slams him to the ground. The poor guy's out cold. Kazuki, the infamous deep web brawler, just cracks his neck and mutters, Inmates these days, not really my type, but hey, good workout. And then he turns. Standing right in front of him is Dai. Kero claps his hands, grinning. That was an incredible strike. He pulls Kazuki out of the cell, still smiling, calling him president and asking if he was watching. Man, I'm kinda embarrassed now, he laughs. But then he spots Dai standing nearby. Who's that? He asks. Dai steps forward, calm. Nice to meet you. Kazuki stares for a moment, hesitant. Then his face turns red. He blushes, clears his throat, and says, Pleasure to meet you too. Looks like Dai just became one more person Kazuki might actually respect in this place. Kamashiro steps in, voice steady. I've got something to ask. Kazuki nods immediately. Anything. Just say the word. But when Kamashiro mentions it's about ice, Kazuki's expression shifts. Kamashiro asks about the acquisition route for ice. That's the information he's after. But Kazuki suddenly turns, his tone shifting. If that's what you're asking, he says, you should talk to someone else. Before walking off, he glances at Daimoto. Later, I want to talk to you. Man, I told you. Run. Dai's eyes narrow. Who is this lunatic? Kamashiro answers calmly. Kazuki, he's a former detective. Dai's stunned. Kamashiro continues. Extremely corrupt. Sure, he was talented, but he drank, fought, brawled his way through investigations. Didn't hesitate to work with gang members or criminal groups, whatever got results. Dai just stares, trying to process it. This place keeps getting darker. Turns out, in one of Kazuki's wild ventures, he backed the wrong side, and that's how he ended up in here. Dai, still trying to piece things together, asks, What is this ice stuff you were talking about? Kamashiro explains. It's a synthetic drug, a brutal mix, amphetamines, morphine, and a cocktail of other chemicals, highly addictive, highly destructive. Then he adds, that same drug was found in Sayaka's body. Dai freezes. Wait, what? That was never mentioned in my case. Kamashiro nods. Exactly. That part's still under wraps, classified for now. Dai's mind flashes back, Sayaka smiling, blowing him a kiss, saying she'd reward him. And now, she's dead. And that drug was in her system. Everything's starting to twist. Poor Sayaka, she only showed up in the story to die. Just a flash of warmth before everything went cold. Dai turns to Kamashiro, frustrated. So that's it? The whole mission was just getting close to Kazuki? Kamashiro nods. Yes, we need intel on ice. Understand the full scope of the case, and if we can get Kazuki on our side, he'll talk about the rest of the plan, about your case. Dai's locked in now, focused, determined, but he still has no clue what's waiting for him. And Kazuki? That guy's a whole different beast, I'm telling you. He's Diddy, the Kasoka of this prison, unpredictable, unhinged, and maybe the key to everything.